All right, welcome to a special instant reaction edition of the Palmcast. I'm Stephen Willis. I am joined, believe it or not, by Jake Evans from the Rebel Walk. If I can get him transferred over here real quick. And how you doing, Jake? What'd you think of the game?
Well, it was good to see. It was good to see. After losing 2 of 3 to UCF over the weekend, and then the Rebels coming in and putting the hammer down on Memphis last night. It's good to see them do it again. I thought that was their biggest issue over the weekend was consistent offense, and so 2 good games with double-digit runs, no complaints.
Yeah, and it was also good to see this week. I think back-to-back games, Tim Elko kind of came alive and hit a home run. It was good to see him get going. Hayden Dunhurst consistent. I think our player of the game would be Hayden Leatherwood. He had a heck of a game tonight, and it was nice to see. And the Johnny Holstaff approach to pitching was necessary because they needed innings.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's one of the other great things too that we've seen out of their team so far is that it's not just a handful of arms that are doing it for us. We've got a bunch of good pitchers that we really think we can rely on. And moving forward, especially going into SEC play, that's going to be huge. Just having, like you said, a bunch of guys, being able to eat up innings by committee, not having to rely on your starter to take you 6 or 7 every time. It's good signs right now. Like we said, UCF was kind of a tough stretch, 2-3 there. These last 2 games, it seems like they've kind of righted the ship and turned it back in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's interesting going into a weekend series. Like this week during the midweek, the 24 bases on balls that they received, they will not get that in the weekend. There's still a little bit of offensive wonder without Peyton Chatagnier, but I'm interested to see what they'll look like this weekend and if they can continue it.
Yeah, me too. And I think if all goes well, the Rebels probably shouldn't lose a game for the next 2 weeks. I think, like everybody said, UCF was just kind of a slip up. And really and truly, when it comes to baseball, you have games like that. The best team doesn't always win in a baseball game. Sometimes you run into a good pitcher. Sometimes you just can't hit the ball that night. And that's kind of the way baseball works. And so, I don't think there's any reason for people to panic or think that this team is, not what it's supposed to be or anything like that. I think that they're right where they need to be. And I think that they're still working out some kinks like everybody is. I mean, we're only 9 games into the season at this point. So, I think we're trending in a good direction here.
Yeah, one thing I would have liked to seen is Trey LaFleur getting a bat or 2 during the midweek. That's probably the only thing that was missed out on between Memphis and JSU tonight.
Yeah, I'd agree. He's hit the ball well this year when he's had the chance. And kind of like I talked about a second ago with the pitching, it's great to see all these, new young arms coming in, getting to eat up some innings, getting some experience in collegiate baseball. But the same thing needs to happen at the plate too. We need to be able to put those guys in so that if a Peyton Chatagnier goes down late in the season, you're comfortable with DJ McCants coming up behind him. If you get a Jacob Gonzalez who goes down, you're comfortable with his next man up, and kind of just on down the line. Because the worst place you can ever be in is a spot where you're only 1 deep in a position. Because if something goes wrong right there, it's game over for you, really.
Yeah. And the big question they had coming into this season was, Anthony Servideo, Tyler Keenan, how do you replace them? You're starting to see Elko's bat wake up a little bit. Jacob Gonzalez has been solid at shortstop. So it kind of feels like something could be clicking.
Yeah, absolutely. And, from last year's team to this year's team, Keenan and Servideo are the only 2 guys that are gone. And then I can't. They said it the other night on the broadcast. I can't remember who it was last year, but the Rebels only lost 1 pitcher from last year. So I mean, this is the exact team that we saw last year, plus a handful of new guys that are going to make the team even better. And so they're returning a lot of power. Tim Elko is having the best season of his career by a long shot last year. Was batting .354 before COVID happened. And he struggled at the beginning of the season. Kind of, that's no secret. But like you mentioned earlier, 2 home runs in the last 2 games. That's big time. Your third baseman needs to be able to hit the baseball, and starting to wake up right around now, that's kind of what you like to see, because that's a guy that the Reds need. They need him to hit the ball.
Yeah, and going into these next 2 weeks, it is the time to wake up the bats because the SEC starts right around the corner.
Yeah, that's right. You get a 3-game series against a Belmont team this weekend that probably is not anywhere near Ole Miss. That's not going to be any secret. You get an Alcorn State next Tuesday, and then you have Louisiana Monroe, Louisiana Tech, and then you're right into it. I mean, we're only 2.5 weeks away from SEC play starting. And when that happens, it's guns a-blazing. I mean, it's no secret this year that the SEC is the best conference of baseball. We've got 3 of the top 5 teams in our Western Division, and when you get to SEC play, there's not going to be any time for you to be still figuring it out and working out those kinks. You got to hit the ground running game 1 in SEC play. Otherwise, you're not going to have a shot this year.
Yeah. And Ole Miss 12, Jackson State 1. That is our midweek instant reaction. Jake Evans from the Rebel Walk. So nice to join us tonight. Hopefully we can do this a little bit more for you guys. And, it's kind of a lot of fun, and the midweek stuff it's a little bit different.
Yep.
All right. And there'll be no Palmcast tomorrow. I have a training with my other job, so this will have to serve as that. But we'll be back Friday to have a lot of fun and move on about what we're doing. So for Jake, I'm Steve. Hotty toddy.